Dijeron igualdad, pero esta vez me separaron. Dijeron mucho, pero no se olvidaron de callarse. Cuánto odio por mi piel sembraron. Dijeron historia y la tergiversaron. Dijeron guerra, muerte, odio y nos culparon. Siempre. Enfermedades, epidemias nos contagiaron. Exterminación de mi fauna complace a tus mercados. Dijeron riqueza y todos se lo robaron. Oro, platino, diamante, a la fuerza se lo llevaron. Y la actualidad es tan triste que todo aquello que dijeron es lo mismo que hoy se dice más. ¿Quién dice, quién explota, quién se beneficia? El asesino, el mismo que da las noticias. Hay una cuenta fácil que siempre me da las grandes riquezas, de dónde vienen y hacia dónde van.
Independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao, independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao. Nati Dre es afroresistencia, cultura ancestral, afrodescendencia, solidaridad. Esa es la esencia, la diáspora africana eleva la conciencia, conciencia negra, universal, progresista y transcultural. Negros y mestizos revolucionando, pueblos caribeños y africanos en un solo bando. No más explotación, colonialismo interno, no más confusión, supremacía blanca en el Babilón. Soy rojo, negro y verde, afroliberación. Mientras más negro, más represión. Somos creadores, recupera tu visión. Mi misión es educar con amor, contra el silencio, vivo sin temor. Independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao, independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao.
Good morning, Africa. What's happening? We're in the building. What's the name of this show, Ikemba?
What's the name? Hold on. I'm messing up already. Which did you ask?
Man, look, Ikemba ain't woke yet. You know, it's too early in the morning for him. I said, what's the name of the show? He's like, hamna. Anyway, it's the Rise Up Morning Show. Clearly, Ikemba got to rise up. Okay, rise up. We're in the building. Man, it's a wonderful day for a revolution. How you feeling, brother?
Hey, I'm feeling great. I told myself I'm gonna show a little bit more emotion today, man.
You show a little bit of emotion?
Yeah. I'm gonna try. Hey,
we was talking about that behind the scenes, man. Ikemba, he be having this one face and whatnot. You be talking to him, he be like this. That's his happy face.
Hey, but I was peeping the pictures. I'm the only one smiling in the pictures, man.
Oh, okay. So you get a pass for smiling in the pictures, and nobody didn't see.
Everybody looking like they ain't got no emotion. Everybody looking serious.
Man. Yeah. So okay. That's a good comeback, but you know that's really not gonna work, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I said I'm gonna try today, though. I'm gonna show some, just a little bit.
It's a good thing, man. You got the Spike Lee X shirt on. I know you now spent like couple grand for that T-shirt. And Spike made it.
Nah, Spike didn't make it. I got it at a African festival, man. One of the stands.
Okay.
I might have spent like $15, $20.
Okay. You want to tell who the designer is, or you don't really care about that? You ain't giving them. You already gave him your money. There ain't no more shout outs.
Hey, everybody, it's funny, man, because I support a lot of people. I go to these festivals. I go to Black businesses. So I have all of these shirts, and I don't know where I got them from when people ask. I'm just like, I got it at a festival. That's the best I can do.
Hey, man, I ain't even gonna
go to the festivals,
Yeah.
That's what I tell them, yeah.
I ain't gonna throw no rocks, man, because folks be giving me shirts, and then I be forgetting who gave it to me. I'm shouting out the wrong people and whatnot. They be like, yeah, we appreciate the shout out, brother, but we ain't give you nothing. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. Still Black business.
But if what they have to start doing is putting their tag on it, and
you know what I'm saying? 9, right? You can't just,
Yeah, because my cousin, he's actually like he's doing something where he's having some clothes manufactured and over in Africa, bringing on. He's just making that connection with the textiles, trying to Pan-African connection. So So, you know, straight to the manufacturer and bringing them over here and giving them to, like, as a distributor, and sort of like giving them to folks to sell. He has his own design, but he has his tag on it, so you know what it is. You know, I don't know if I don't want to say what it is, because I don't know if that's free promo right there.
Hey man, you already gave his date of birth, his social security number. You know, my cousin, he went to PS number 5. You know what I'm saying? He got locks. You know what I'm saying? He live on this street, so on and so forth.
But Dap Kings, I'm gonna just say Dap Kings.
Shout out to Dap Kings. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna shout you out right now. That means that we get free T-shirts for saying that. I don't know what Ikemba told you. You know what I mean? Ikemba acting like y'all Frank Lucas, like you said. They went straight to the manufacturer. They went to Vietnam. They went and got the cotton. They did a whole lot to get that shirt.
Yeah,
We're gonna push that shirt when it's done, man. So definitely appreciate that. Shout out to Dap Kings. Matter of fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think we might have met at a festival or something up in Philly, at least a time or two, right?
The Locks conference.
No doubt.
That was the at least that in my mind, I think that's the first time I connected. I might have seen you before that, but I know we spoke. That's when I purchased the book, man. I told you I'd be supporting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brother, I don't know what he's talking about on that, but okay.
I brought the book, brother.
No doubt. We appreciate it. Speaking of book, the new book, Beyond Cop Cities, I heard is supposed to drop next week. So make sure y'all get that. That's a joint that Dr. Joy James and I are pushing. It's supposed to have been out during Black August. Literally just got a text like right now saying that the book should be out next week. So definitely salute to the publishers, Pluto Press out in the UK. Along with that, shout out to the Locks Conference. That was one of my favorite things in Philly. Our good elder, who's now an ancestor, Mama Kosawa Sabri. You know what I'm saying? Mama Kosawa Sabri Ali, who I've known for decades, and unfortunately she had made a transition a few years back. She's one of the realest folks that I ran across, period. Real quick, I remember not the last time, but the time before last, she would always have me come out and speak at the conference, all types of different topics. She'd just give me anything. One time she had me in a relationship conference. I said, Mama Kosa, that's probably not the best conference. I ain't mastered that. You know what I mean? So, you know, she put me on there and we made it work. You know what I mean? So, you know, but the thing is, I recall that one time I went there and it was a hotel out there and they was fronting on me. You know, they got, you know, when you travel, they get you the hotels and, you know, the flights and stuff. So I'm at this hotel and I give them my name and whatnot. They're like, well, your name, you know, we don't have you listed. I said, all right, I give them the government. Well, we still don't have you listed. They got kind of
been in Philly though.
Yeah, it was definitely in Philly, brother. You know, don't try to act like it. You'll try to defend Philly. Go ahead. Come on, man. I know you was back up for Cassidy and everything, but just, you know, but that wasn't it. But nah, so they was like fronting on me and whatnot. And I called Mama Kosa and I'm like, yo, you know, they saying they'll have me listed. Mama Kosa drove down to the hotel, her and another sister, and she asked to speak to whoever the manager was, and she talked about how she'd been doing business with this hotel probably, I want to say, close to 20 years. I don't want to lie. And this might have been the 24th year. And she said, you disrespect our guests. And she said, we're never doing business at this hotel again. You know, sometimes folks say things and whatnot. And they like, you know, it sound good, make you feel good, so on and so forth. Following year, I come out there. It's a different space. I said, so Mama Kosa, well, what happened to the other spot? She said, you weren't there when I told you wasn't doing business with them no more?
That's a real one.
And man, listen, and you already know at the Locks Conference, they had heavyweights. It's not for folks that didn't make it. It ain't just about hair.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You had some giants come through that.
Most definitely. That year, when you came through, I knew Professor Griff was there. What's the poet?
Sonny Patterson.
Yeah.
My sister Sonny. Yeah.
That was a powerful. That might have been the last one.
Or you know what?
One more.
That was the 25th. You're right. Right, and Soleil came. It was the 25th year, so she made it to 25 years of this situation. Was planning the next one, and she made her transition. Just like I remember, I was taping that day, and I got the call right before I was about to record, and it messed me up because she would just call me randomly sometime and just just chat, just talk, and tell me about who was out of order and all that type of stuff. So definitely rising power to Mama Kosua for folks who are in Philly and folks who would frequent the Locks Conference. That's the place where every time I went to Philly, I knew that I would see Muhammad Ahmed, Max Stanford. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I'm going to see the Move family. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I'm going to see, all these other giants. I think the last time or the time before that, Kamal Cambone, who's now an ancestor. Just so many greats that will come through there, man. And I'm sorry I got stuck on that, but we're going to dedicate.
Nah, that's definitely, because just think about a lot of people didn't even experience that, unfortunately.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That was, if you missed out, you tripping. But don't fret, because the place that I actually met Mama Kosua at was Happily Natural in Richmond, Virginia. So shout out to Happily Natural Festival. My man Devon Chavis has been putting it down. Matter of fact, the 21st year anniversary of Happily Natural is this year in August. I believe it's the weekend of August 30th. And some of the guests for that, speaking of Sonny Patterson, they have Sonny Patterson, they have the soul singer Bilal, and coming to the stage, the Last Poets will be in the building. You know what I mean? So make sure y'all make your way. You gotta be. That's where we be. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about what's happening. That's part of Black August. But anyway, brother, definitely glad to be able to build with you on this early morning. You know what I mean? You look like you've been up for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I try to get up early, work out.
Okay.
Yeah, get it in.
So Kimber said Kimber did like 3 push-ups before he hopped on the screen. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm in the best shape I've been in a long time, man. Since I used to play ball. Yeah.
You used to ball too?
Good. I used to ball too. I used to get it in. I was good.
Basketball?
Basketball, for sure.
Okay. We might need to get a league over here, man. Fernando played pro in France. That's what that's what he's telling us.
So. Well, I used to play basketball. I ain't.
There you go. There we go.
I can't get out there now. I'm sorry, man.
Ain't no problem. I used to sit on the sideline. I ain't play basketball. I was trying to be fresh. But no, definitely shout out to our comrades. This is the second Rise Up Morning Show. For folks who checked out yesterday's joint, we appreciate you tapping in. Let us know what you thought about that and what you think about this. We had 6 hosts on yesterday. We had 2 of our folks, which we'll call the French Connection. And then we had the West Side Mafia. We had a couple of other folks that was on that side. Today, we East Coast overdose up in here. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know what we do on the East Side. But anyway, shout out to our co-hosts, and we're looking forward to seeing them again tomorrow. But what we're going to do is what we always do around this time is we're going to go to a quick little spinoff, a quick little break. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share this joint, because you all are our marketers, and we here live and direct on Black Power Media. And Sister May, take us away.
In this crooked game of power politics here in America, the Negro, namely the race problem, integration, civil rights issue, are all nothing but tools used by the whites who call themselves liberals against another group of whites who call themselves conservatives, either to get into power or to retain power. Among whites here in America, the political teams are no longer divided into Democrats and Republicans. The whites who are now struggling for control of the American political throne are divided into liberal and conservative camps. The white liberals from both parties cross party lines to work together toward the same goal. and white conservatives from both parties do likewise. The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way. The liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives. The American Negro is nothing but a political football, and the white liberals control this ball through tricks or tokenism, false promises of integration and civil rights. In this game of deceiving and using the American Negro, the white liberals have complete cooperation of the Negro civil rights leader, who sell our people out for a few crumbs of token recognition, token gains, token progress. In the New York Tribune, in an editorial dated February the 5th, 1960, they pointed out that out of 11 million qualified Negro voters, only 2,700,000 actually take time to vote. This means that, roughly speaking, only 3 million out of the 11 million Negroes who are qualified to vote take an active part, and the remaining 8 million remain voluntarily inactive. And yet it is this small minority, the 3 million Negro voters, who help determine who will be the next president. If who will be the next president can be influenced by 3 million Negro voters, it is easy to see why the presidential candidates of both political parties put on such a false show with the Civil Rights Bill and promises of integration. They must impress the 3 million voting Negroes who are the actual integration seekers. And if so much fuss is made over these 3 million integration seekers, what would the presidential candidates have to do to appease the 8 million non-voting Negroes if they ever decided to become politically active? They hold the balance of power. Who are the 8 million non-voting Negroes? What do they want? And why don't they vote? The 3 million Negro voters are the so-called middle-class Negroes or high-class Negroes or uppity Negroes, who are referred to by the late Howard University sociology professor E. Franklin Frazier as the black bourgeoisie, who have been educated to think as patriotic individualists with no racial pride whatsoever, who believe in and look forward to the future integrated, intermarried society that is constantly being promised to them by the Negro politician. And therefore, this integration-minded 3 million minority remain an active part of the white-controlled political parties. But it must never be overlooked that these 3 million Negro integration seekers are only a small minority of the 11 million qualified Negro voters. The 8 million non-voting Negroes are the majority, the downtrodden black masses. They have refused to vote. They've refused to take a part in politics because they reject the Uncle Tom approach of the clergy politician leadership that has been handpicked for the so-called Negroes by the white man himself. This clergy politician leadership does not speak for the Negro majority. They don't speak for the black masses. They speak for the black bourgeoisie, the brainwashed, white-minded, middle-class minority, who, because they are ashamed of their race, because they are ashamed of being black and don't want to be identified with black, they are seeking to lose this black identity by mixing and mingling and intermarrying and integrating with the white society. The race problem cannot be solved by listening to the white-minded, brainwashed minority. The white man must try to learn what the black majority wants. The president would be wise to try and learn what the black masses want. And the only way to find this out is by listening to the man who speaks for the black masses. And I can declare to you tonight and to the entire world that the man here in America who speaks for the majority, the downtrodden, dissatisfied black masses, is this same man who so many thousands of our people are flocking toward to see and hear. This same Mr. Muhammad, who is labeled by you as a black supremacist and as a racist and as an extremist. If the 3 million middle-class Negroes are casting their ballots for integration and intermarriage, what do the non-voting black masses who are in the majority want? Find out what the black masses want, and then perhaps America's grave race problem can be solved.
Man. You know, man, definitely rise up. That is one of the greatest rappers to ever do it. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about rap, you know, when you talk about that muscle in his voice, that's, you know, that brother right there is, I don't, you know, for me, I've heard so many people that try to downplay Malcolm and make excuses, but I mean, without a doubt, I mean, what's your thought on that piece right there? You know what I'm saying? That was a Black Power break, by the way. We don't, you know, over here at Rise Up, we want to make sure that we keep constantly drilling you with that stone cold political education. But Ikemba, you know, what did that speech say to you?
Yeah, Malcolm, you know, like you said, one of the greatest, maybe the GOAT, you know, rapper. It's funny, definitely. Like I remember years ago when we were still using CDs, and I received this disc with like a mix of our teachers on there. You had Khalid, Farrakhan, Malcolm, somebody. I don't know who put it together, but you used to can get these off the stand. So this one CD I had, they had hip hop beats. They would have the hip hop beats behind the people speaking. And the Battle of the Bullet, the whole Battle of the Bullet speech had a hip hop beat behind it. I used to listen to it like I was listening to a Nas album, man, all the time, man.
Word.
You know, but yeah, Malcolm, man, this particular piece right here, it's timeless, man. You talk about, you know, liberals and conservatives. I would say, like, as he was speaking, I was thinking as an add-on to, you know, one of the things we have to look out for is the conservative posing as a liberal, posing as a Democrat. Right. That's something that we are faced with too in our communities, man. Here in Philadelphia, you know, we get these so-called Democratic mayors and Democratic council people, but when they put forth their policies, it's no different than their policies and their message is no different from the other side, the conservative side, the Republican side. You know, when you hear a Democratic mayor talk about restoring law and order, you know, I'm thinking I'm listening to Richard Nixon, you know, exactly, up there.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, listening to the
Johnson or somebody. Right.
Absolutely.
No, and that's wild that you say that, because, you know, to quote Malcolm, you know, he said that basically, you know, democracy in America is a hypocrisy. You know what I mean? So, you know, and I'm you know, when you said the whole thing about the mixed CDs, not the sidetrack, but we actually created one back in like 05, which I've been sending out as downloads with like hip hop beats. It's like a mix of the different Malcolm speeches, and we put all types of different, hip hop beats under it. But because that was one of the tools, that was one of the propaganda tools when we talk about getting that information out there. And like I said, when I say Malcolm and we talk about Malcolm being the GOAT and one of the greatest rappers, this ain't we ain't just trying to, make it sound fly. You know what I mean? Folks like him, folks like H. Rap Brown, Imam Jamil Alameen, you know what I'm saying? Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael, these brothers, they was laying it down like none other. Chairman Fred, you know what I mean? They was laying it down. They rap game was superior, because they was saying something. But Malcolm, when he's talking about, it's being dealt with like a political football.
Yeah.
And that's what it is to this day. To this very day. And just all the people, I'm listening to these folks that's still on this, man, I ain't voting for Trump. I'm voting for Biden. I don't even care. I was talking to someone the other day. I said, man, dude, hardly remember his name. She's like, man, I don't care. I bet you I won't vote for Trump, boom, boom, boom. And, some of us, I ain't going to speak for everybody on the platform, but I'm going to just say that some of us, we welcome a Trump presidency. And to some, they be like, oh, you saying he endorsing Trump? No, that's not what I'm saying. So that's, get that out your head. I'm saying to you that basically we're getting what we deserve, because if you refuse to fight back and you refuse to accept that that times haven't changed, then you're in bad shape. And these white folks, they'll whip you into shape. And the reality is, white supremacy didn't just come along with Trump. You know what I mean? You mentioned folks like Richard Nixon, folks like him, folks like Lyndon Baines Johnson, and a young Biden. You know what I'm saying? When he was in the Senate, the Hillary Clintons, the Bill Clintons, the Obamas. Notice I'm saying the ones that you consider safe first. Then we'll talk about the Bushes and the Reagans and all of them. But it's necessary because at this stage, if we don't rise up, then we'll forever, be lulled to sleep. So we appreciate what Malcolm brings to the table. Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's, you made a point as far as like what Trump, we'll take Trump, but it's not an endorsement. And this is the sentiment that, a lot of us have that don't support the Democrats or the Republicans, because we know like it's a Trump presidency is going to get us, is going to motivate us to do what we need to do. Right. Fine. Because Malcolm talked about this. And I think like when we have these conversations about the presidency and Trump and how you say this is an endorsement, this is the same thing Malcolm used to say when it came to the Republican Party. And even in that clip we just listened to, he would talk about Goldwater, and people think you have people who say, hey, Malcolm X endorsed the Republican Party. He endorsed Goldwater. No, he was he was telling you that, hey, at least I know what I'm getting with Goldwater. He never endorsed them, right. But he respected that the racists would let you know that he's racist. And what we get with these liberals in the Democratic Party, is this deceit, the hypocrisy that you talked about, that Malcolm talked about,
Yeah, no, it's the difference between the Southern cracker and the Northern cracker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You and I being from the Northeast, white folks up there, they operate a little differently. Mm-hmm. But when you bring your black ass down south to Georgia, you know what I'm saying, which was which slavery during antebellum Georgia, it pretty much rivaled the police state right now, just the number of prisoners and inmates, the slaves compared to inmates. It's a direct transfer. You have that. You have Alabama. You have Mississippi. You have Tennessee, Arkansas, so on and so forth. I organized in places like Alabama and Mississippi. You ain't never organized. You organizing on a dirt road. And when these crackers straight up tell you, like, all that sound good right now, boy, but you better get out of town before sundown. You understand what I'm saying? When you protesting and they got the protesters protesting the protesters. You understand what I'm saying? When they got their ARs and their rifle, their shotguns, so on and so forth, they mean business. You know what I mean? So up north, you know, their clan outfit is more of a business suit. You understand what I'm saying? So you might be confused and you might say, okay, nah, well, he like black folks. You know, his wife is black. You understand what I'm saying? He adopted some black kids. You understand what I'm saying? But the reality is, yeah. So you begin to think that it's all good. Clinton moved to Harlem. You know, he played a sax, so all of a sudden, you know, he got, you know,
he's the first black president. Remember?
Yeah,
Clinton was the first black president.
He in the Oval Office, you know, getting it on. You know what I mean? So
because that's what we would do if he was in.
Of course. So that's the mentality. You understand what I'm saying? We pretty much we took a step back, and as we talk about CP time and all the other nonsense, we decided that anybody that's off the rail, he like a black man. So we played into the nonsense. So what came out of that? You know what I'm saying? Longer prison terms. What came out of that? Gentrification, more gentrification. You understand what I'm saying? Higher taxes, so on and so forth. All the while, folks is like, oh man, he's great, man. You know, look at him. He's with Aretha Franklin. He's with such and such. I remember during John Lewis's funeral.
Oh man.
Yeah, this cracker get up there. You remember what he said?
Yeah. He had no business, man. Keep, you know, Comrade Kwame, you know, to raise name out your mouth, man.
Right, man. Get smacked in it. Yeah. That's when we went to jail. That's why you and I can't hang together. Because it wouldn't have went down like that. You know what I'm saying? So for folks that don't know, he said, you know, and I'm paraphrasing it, basically, you know, John Lewis, you know, kept it balanced. He didn't go too far Stokely Carmichael. This is what he says at John Lewis's funeral. So I don't know if that's an honor for some Negroes. They clapping and all of that type stuff. They supposed to ran them out the building. You know what I'm saying? They supposed to boo them at the funeral. You know what I mean? And just the fact that you can even come out your mouth like that, disrespect one ancestor,
right?
And the other ancestor basically say, look, he's a good boy. He's a house Negro.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Literally. You know,
and he said for a moment too that we was moving towards Stokely as we should have been.
Yes.
Know?
So moving towards Kwame Ture Stokely Carmichael means what? We moving towards revolution. We moving towards liberation. You understand what I'm saying? But this is what this cracker had the audacity to say in a black city with a black mayor. And shit, I was about to say during the time of a black president, but that was Biden. But you know, same shit, different toilet. Yeah. Anyway, man, you about to get me mad up in that, Ikemba.
I'm upset thinking about it, man. Just like, you know, because Kwame Ture, man, like he's definitely a big influence on me. I've written a poem about Kwame Ture, man. Like,
you a poet?
A little something, man.
Okay. It's all right, right?
Do a little bit.
Okay. But we might have you spit one day. We might have to battle up on on the rise up. But nah, that's real, man. You know, before we do have a guest coming on, but before we go to the guest, let's get into some news because we know that, you know, some people want to see what we're talking about. We know that speaking of catastrophes and madness and nonsense and presidents who don't give a, you know what I'm saying? This whole thing in Houston, you know what I'm saying? This hurricane situation, man. Not just in Houston, but throughout the Caribbean, man. You know, let's talk about that, man. Like, what's your thoughts on it, man? I just got a text right now. Shout out to our brother Kofi Taharka out in Houston. Shout out to our sister Liliana. I was told that that the Shape Center down there is a spot that we spoke at last year with Sekou Odinga, Rising Power to Sekou Odinga, Joy James, Matt Myers, Dequeen and myself last year. We spoke there, and they're without power still. This hurricane took place. This has been like, man, what is this? Close to 2 weeks now?
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and folks are still without power. Let's talk about that, man. This feels like Katrina-ish. You know,
Yeah,
it seems like a throwback. What's your
yeah,
thoughts on it?
yeah. I think so. I mean, the one big issue I have with it, because there's a lot, but what came to mind, just reading about this, just seeing how things are going in Houston, is how were they not prepared for it? 2017, you had Harvey,
Right.
right? And I mean, even without 2017, come on, this is Houston we're talking about. This isn't their first rodeo.
That's
So
right.
how are you not prepared for a hurricane? How is there not resources allocated that's saying, hey, if something hit and there's a catastrophe, we have these resources on hand and ready to go. You have to wait for the president. You got to go to the federal government to
Right.
get some resources. Like the federal government and the state dropped the ball on it.
That's right.
But come on. But that was my thoughts, and I'm just looking at. There's a lot of people that have been impacted by this, but the majority of people are our folks, black folks. They say we're 2 times more likely to be affected by hurricanes,
Right.
natural disasters in Houston.
Right.
So we're the most impacted by that, and I think that this is why Black people should be concerned um, about this what's going on in Houston, because that's our people down there that's suffering, and I think that they have to the Black community. This is why we have to put our destiny in our own hands
That's right.
and not be reliant on the state or the federal government. Because at the same time, I'm listening to the who is it, Abbott, I think is the governor, and
Okay.
he putting it on the individuals, telling them, hey, y'all have to, the individuals have to be prepared, and he did
Right.
say the state, the city and the state have to be prepared too. But I'm just like, yo, y'all got the resources. Y'all supposed to make
Yeah.
sure that everybody is prepared for this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like him and Biden blaming each other as well. And then you have the local officials. Everyone, the fact is,
Mm-hmm.
while the fingers are being pointed, uh, while we playing the blame game or they playing the blame game,
Yeah.
at the same time, people are suffering. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? You're talking about, imagine almost 2 weeks without power. To my understanding, I believe they said it's like 20% of Houston is still without power after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, you're talking about, folks, and we know some folks down there that literally had to sleep in their car. So many trees that fell, and then the city's not, even with that, the trees falling on power lines, the trees just falling all together.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our folks talked about how, because the trees didn't damage the house, but it is so close to it and so many trees on it, the city's like, okay, well, we can't help you because it didn't destroy your home. You understand what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So you literally sitting there hoping that some of these oak trees and other trees don't crush you or your
That's
family.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally insane. And then it's so many excuses, it's so much red tape, you know what I mean, that goes along with this, and it's just like, it's sickening. Think about all the businesses. I was told about how some of these businesses, they have that might sell meat or whatever. The
Yeah.
groceries spoiling, the smell, and the smell of death, in the
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood, so on and so forth. I mean, it's incredible that this is 2024.
Yeah.
Texas, a state that literally makes millions of dollars off of executing people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The highest number of executions in the state in the US is in the state of Texas. So they have the resources
Yeah, it's
to
like the
murder.
energy capital of America.
Right. Which is probably part of the reason why Barrel hit so hard over there, because of them wrecking the climate. You understand
Mm.
what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
because usually they talk about how a hurricane like this, it'll really kick in like late August, September, so on and so forth, for a season, looking at it this early in the game.
Oh yeah.
It's unprecedented. So it's not,
No.
I mean, it's insane, man. It's crazy.
And this was from what I was reading, this was a category 1.
Right. That hit there. It calmed down from the category 4s we see, to hit Grenada and other places.
Yeah, exactly. In Jamaica and everything.
And but to your point, that's a category 1 and it's problems like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I mean, it's just happening like this. And like you said, there was no immediate assistance or relief. And folks are still, I mean, that's people are still sleeping in cars, people still without power. If they're without power, that means they're without food. They're talking about how the grocery stores, many of those stores are empty. I mean, what's up with that?
And they're talking about again, I think this is the Governor Abbott who actually it might be the public utility company down there that is talking about investigating is it Center Point Energy?
Right. Center Point. Yeah.
So they're about to get investigated because of their response to. But what
does that mean, right? So like Malcolm says, like telling Frank James about Jesse James. What does that mean in the grand scheme of things? In reality, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
They're going to fine them, and what is that going to do? Boost people's bills up. I mean, like, come on, man, this is pure game.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, and this is the distraction. Hey, let's point the finger at each other, blame each other, but all of y'all are to blame.
That's right.
Everybody is to blame. You know what I'm saying? You guys had the power to prepare for these hurricanes, and it's it's sad because we know like a lot of our folks, and not all of our folks, but a lot of our folks don't have the resources. Like they're the most affected by these hurricanes. Health wise, being able to rebuild after these disasters, having the resources to be able to get back to where they were pre-hurricane.
Sure.
So yeah, a lot of those. But I think at the end of the day, just it goes back to we need to be able to respond. We can't be relying upon the city, the state. We have to organize our community and actually, organize in a way where we put pressure on these politicians, man. What I'm saying, to do the right thing.
Right.
We have this mentality that but and they feed into it too. But we place our vote, put them in office, and they go and do what they're supposed to do. No, it don't work like that, man.
No. And I want to shout out, our organization, FTP Movement and the USPI. I co-chair the Urban Survival Preparedness Institute with my brother Balogun Ojore, because of things like this. Because we deal with when we talk about urban survival and we talk about preparedness. Indeed, we have to take our destiny and put it in our own hands, because you have folks, we can recall, folks sleeping in the dome and all that stuff during Katrina, during Harvey, so on and so forth. And the reality is, when the community is desperate, they look to folks like us for the answers, because if we tell them you can't trust the state, well, who am I going to trust? Mm-hmm. So they look to folks like us. But if we're laid up in the same superdomes and sleeping in the same cars as them, then it's kind of like a contradiction. Yeah. So it is important for us to be prepared as organizations. In fact, to me, and this is no slight or no shade on any organization, I deem it kind of illogical, knowing that there's police terrorism. We know that there's man-made and natural disasters, so on and so forth. I'm confused how urban survival preparedness isn't up there with political education, so on and so forth. That's just how we see it. Yeah. I mean, it don't, with all due respect, the Panthers did the Breakfast for Children program. Many of us, we fed the community, so on and so forth, with sandwiches and all that type stuff. We have to take it to another level. And if we're not advancing, if you're not growing, then it's almost like, like, what are we doing this for?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and that is a critique on us as a community, because, you know, it's easy to talk about, you know, yeah, the state don't do this and 911 is a joke, but if we don't take
Yeah.
control, then it's I mean, it's some sucker shit. We just say
Yeah.
it like that, you know.
And I think you know, our people can't be disillusioned by the mistakes that has been made in the past, because I've had conversations with folks about, you know, organizing the United Front, like building a black state, black pilot, so we could put black policies and agendas at the forefront, and represent our people right. And I'm talking to folks that will be with it, but they because of attempts in the past that didn't work, they
Right,
feel like they're burnt out.
right,
But my thing is like, man, what are we in this for then? Then I might as well stop doing what I'm doing if this ain't what we if we not trying to liberate ourselves.
right,
I'm not,
right.
you know what I'm saying? I'm not just trying
Yeah.
to do little, you know, action here, action there. And
No,
that's
no,
no slight, you know, again, that's no slight to, you know, folks, but I think like the ultimate goal, man, we should be trying to free ourselves from colonial rule.
that's real. And I think that a lot of that is excuses, and excuses only benefit the excuse maker. I think that oftentimes we're looking for reasons why we say, okay, you know, I ain't down with this because, you know, black folks don't do this, or, you know, that's why I don't trust the conscious community. I don't trust it. You don't trust the conscious community. Who you trust? The state? You know what I'm saying? You get with some people you could trust. Get with an organization you
Yeah.
could trust. You know what I'm saying? If you're worried about people always letting you down, I don't see how you operating as an individual is going to bring you any true power anyway. But the thing is, I think our people are comfortable with being powerless.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? We're just like Houston. You know what I'm saying? We are all without power. You understand what I'm
yeah.
saying? And it looked good in theory, but this right here is an example, and it's definitely no diss or no, uh, you know, no disregard for Houston. What I'm simply saying is this is what happened. What happens when we're not prepared and we don't control our own destiny. You know what I mean? When we don't have a plan of action to move beyond where we are. Now, some folks be like, "Oh, well, what would you do?" It's about us getting prepared. So you know what I'm saying? We have to make a checklist. It's not, again, it's not like, you know, we pointing the finger or placing the blame. That's what the state do. You know, at the end of the day, what are we going to do to claim our victory?
Yeah. I'm
You know,
thinking too, like even with we've seen this before, right? This we need should we let me say, because I know where we are now, and I feel
right,
like we're dealing with a lot of contradictions. Um, but we should be prepared, right, for a disaster like this where our people don't have to rely on the state, you know.
no,
But
yeah,
I think we have to nationally we have to be together to be able to get resources over there, you know. I don't know. It's just a thought that I'm having because uh, you know, who else but us?
that's
We
right.
know what's up. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. And you know, I still, you know, I'm a hopelessly devoted lost soul, and I still feel like we're gonna get it right one way or another. You know, and shout out to our brother Deruba who we had on yesterday. When you're talking about building a united front against fascism, all of this, you know, it encompasses all of this. It's necessary, um, and it's kind of weird to an extent that some things that should be a given, it's like we
Yeah.
just we can't even visualize it. It's like we're blind to the ways of mankind, as the song would go. But anyway, yeah, man. So definitely, you know, we say salute to all the folks out there who are making an effort to save ourselves and to work on behalf of the people as a whole. Um, what else we got going on, man? This is you know, it's a sad thing to see that you know, I mean, I'm just looking at the footage and everything. It's just like,
Yeah.
wow.
And you know the problem, because as I mentioned before, it was a category one, but they said the issue was it rained for like 8 or 9 days straight. It just kept
Right,
raining.
right,
and that's where the flooding came from, man. And it's a lot of people that's ready to leave Houston because they're like, hey, they can't deal with this anymore. This is it's been happening. They dealt with Harvey. Even with this situation, I think there was in the beginning they lost electricity, and then they got the electricity back, and then they lost it again. So, people are beginning to be fed up and feel like there's nothing that they can do. And is this something? I don't want to get into a conspiracy, thing, but is this something that the ruling class want the black community to, want to remove the black community? So why put some resources? Why spend resources on the black community to protect them from natural disasters? And that's not surprising. That's really been the policy, really, that has been the policy of white supremacy, is not to put resources into the black community, right? It's a genocidal system. Colonial capitalism is a genocidal system. So, I wouldn't be surprised. What other excuse is it that they're not prepared for a natural disaster, for a hurricane?
But
category 1 through 5, they should be prepared.
They ain't prepared for nothing because they're not interested. It's the same thing we're here in Atlanta, man. Every now and then a snowstorm will come along, and it won't even be no heavy duty snowstorm. It can be, something that in Philly or New York, Connecticut, Jersey, wherever, there'll be no thought of closing school. There'll be no delay or nothing. And it'll be some powder, and it'll shut the city down because they're not prepared to deal with snow. They're not prepared. They don't have the sand trucks, so on and so forth. So every now and then it'll come along, and I mean, literally, I've seen folks, the highway backed up, broke down, so on and so forth, because people panicking, not knowing how to move, how to drive in the snow, so on and so forth. And it's pathetic, but the city is nowhere to take on the responsibilities and to have this whole preparedness aspect in order, man. So
maybe they don't have the money, man. Maybe they don't have the resources. I mean, they sent $93 billion to Ukraine and Israel.
So we might have ran out a little bit of money, huh?
Ran out of some money, man.
Yeah. You might have something there. Then all the people they got to house in the prisons, you know what I'm saying, and all the military bases. Yeah. Then they got to send money to Israel to bomb, Palestinians. Yeah, you might be right, man. I mean,
operations in the Congo.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about that Congo situation in a while. They caught Americans over there.
Yeah. So it got hushed up, huh?
Yeah. Or maybe I'm just, maybe I got to tap back into that. But I remember it was all over the news.
We're gonna tap into it. You know what I'm saying? Right now, they're concentrating certain energies and certain efforts. You know what I mean? They're busy helping to fund the Kenyans and these other mercenaries going into Haiti. You know what I mean? So they're spending a lot of money, and of course they're stealing a whole lot more.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? A whole lot more
able to spend it. I spend other people's money too.
Hey man, you down with OPP? You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on here, man. That's what's going on.
And they spend it on who they want to spend it on.
Without a doubt. We're gonna take a quick break and come back right with you. You are checking out Rise Up Morning Show. You know what I mean? We're gonna hit you with a little bit of a Black Power break. Hold on to your seats. Make sure you tap in with your folks. Let them know that we're here. Check in. Tell a friend to the end. And we'll be back again. Rise Up Morning Show. Ikemba is in the building. Kalonji, Changa. Let's go.
See, unlike America would have us believe, The greatest problem confronting this country today is not pollution and bad breath. It's black people. It's black people. See, that's just one of the big lies that America tells you and that you go for because you chumps. You go for it. One of the lies that we tell ourselves is that we are making progress. But Huey's chair is empty. We're not making progress. We tend to equate progress with concessions. We can no longer make that mistake. You see, when they gave us that nigger astronaut, you say we were making progress, but I told you they were going to lose him in space. He didn't get that far. They gave you Thurgood Marshall, and you said we were making progress. Thurgood Marshall is a Tom of the highest order. Anybody who sits before James O. Eastland, a camel breath, Peckerwood, nasty honky from Mississippi. And let James O. Eastland subject him to the type of questioning that he did. He's a strange breed of man. You put Adam Clayton Powell in office and you couldn't keep him. What you think they're going to do with Thurgood Marshall when they get tired of him? They gave you Walter Washington of Washington, D.C., and you said we were making progress. That's not progress. See, it's no in-between. You're either free or you're a slave. There's no such thing as second-class citizenship. That's like telling me you can be a little bit pregnant. The only politics in this country that's relevant to black people today is the politics of revolution. None other. There is no difference between the Democratic and Republican Party. The similarities are greater than the differences of those parties. What's the difference between Lyndon Johnson and Goldwater? None. But a lot of you running around talking about you Democrats, and the Democrats got you in the biggest trick going. They tell you that it ain't our fault. It's the Dixiecrats. There's no such thing as a Dixiecrat. The only difference between George Wallace and Lyndon Johnson is one of them's wife got cancer. That's the only difference. But you go for it. You go for it because you chumps. You go for it. The only thing that's going to free Huey is gunpowder. Black powder. Huey Newton is the only living revolutionary in this country today. He has paid his dues. He paid his dues. How many white folks you killed today? But you revolutionaries, you are revolutionaries. Che Guevara says it's only two ways to leave the battlefield, victorious or dead. Huey is in jail. That's no victory, that's a concession. When black people become serious about the revolutionary struggle that they are caught up in, whether they recognize it or not, when they begin to go down.
Man.
That's the same thing I said. I mean, because what do you say after that? I mean, that right there. We was just talking about rap. You know what I mean? We was talking about H. Rap Brown, who is the reason why I'm in Atlanta. I came down here to support his case and his campaign when I was organizing 20 years ago. Shout out to Imam Jamil Alameen, formerly H. Rap Brown, who is a political prisoner right now. This brother right here, I mean, so many quotables right there that you could go with.
He's one of my superheroes, man.
Man, what you talking about? You know what I mean? That's like, you know, man, it's like the fact that he is alive and he's not on the minds and the tongues of our people. You understand what I'm saying? Is incredible. You know what I mean? So that shows you how when you're not state sponsored, they could try to disappear you.
Yeah.
In plain sight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because people, and I don't know, maybe because I'm just trying to think like why people they know Kwame Ture, you know, they know Stokely Carmichael, but I feel like those two, like they should be known equally. Yeah, and I'm, you know, but maybe because H. Rat, like, well, you know, Jalil, I mean, he I feel like he went a little further.
Right. I think part of the problem is for them is he became an imam and that, you know, he's a Muslim and they recognize him as such. You know what I mean? So, you know, to an extent, some people get caught up in religion with doctrine and so on and so forth. So, you know, well, I ain't down with this. I ain't no Christian. I ain't no Muslim. I ain't no so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So to me, I'm thinking that may have played a role because of the fact that what he did, one of the things that he called for was good behavior, was righteous behavior, right?
But and he was incarcerated back in the 80s or 70s though too, right? Wasn't there a time they had him off the streets?
That's when he became Muslim first. You know what I'm saying? That was I believe the early 70s. Matter of fact, he was on house arrest during that speech right there. That was at Huey P. Newton's birthday celebration. This was so this was a year after this is a year after after the party had formed and Huey was in jail already. And they had this free Huey rally and birthday joint. So it was him, Kwame Eldridge, and Stokely Eldridge, and a number of different people. But he was actually on house arrest in New York, and he flew there to give this speech anyway. He didn't give a damn. So I believe they met him at the airport on the way back in New York. But he was like, he's gangster. He said what he said. And I mean, how you on house arrest? You talking like that in a whole nother state? So he like, fuck the house. You know what I'm saying?
And that's revolutionary. That's when you're freest, man. When you just like, the state, I'm not going to let the state dictate, you know, what I'm going to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And even in that, you can hear Malcolm's influence too, you know.
Oh yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, pound for pound, round for round, I tell people that, you know, he would be the closest thing to Malcolm alive today. You know what I mean? You know, we got some heavyweights out there. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. But Imam Jamil is, you know, he's been consistent. You know what I mean? He's respected. When you talk about his life, I'm a part of his community here in Atlanta, and the reality is, you know, this is a community that when he moved to Atlanta, and he started the first full-time masjid in Atlanta, in the west end of Atlanta, the Western Masjid, Western Community Masjid. The community, as I was told, was in shambles. So you had folks out there, you know, selling drugs, wilding. I understand that there was, they would cut pigs open and let the blood run in the street, and the neighborhood smelling bad. It's all types of robberies. I was told they was calling it Little Amsterdam because it was like an open air drug market. And aside from that, there was a motorcycle gang there. And, so Imam Jamil was like, he came through. It was like, look, man, y'all gonna have to cease and desist. And, some people complied and some people didn't. And, basically some, talked crazy or whatever. And it's to my understanding, the place where the motorcycle club was, that's where we have Juma at now. I mean, so I don't have to tell you who won that.
Yeah.
I mean, you do the math, you know what I'm saying? So, so the thing is, when you have a brother that has not only muscle in his voice, but a brother who is able to command respect, that's a different type of brother. You're talking about a man that when folks like Ice Cube and Kareem and all those folks would come to the West End, they would go to his store because he would be sitting outside of his store in the West End. And, folks tell me that you'll see all these folks they coming to pay respect because they know that this is where Rap Brown is. This is where Imam Jamil is. So let us make sure that we check in.
Yeah.
People like Andrew Young, I understand he went to the community when he wanted his daughter to move over there and got the blessings, made sure she was going to be all right. And, that was the business, so he was a man that was respected so much that the state, it's a protracted
power.
Too much power for a black man.
Yeah. But that's a representation of the type of protection or community control we should have, right? Where the I was gonna say elders, but the adults in our community, let's just say that, should be controlling. Like nothing should be going on in the community. I'll get right to it. The way that we just see the youth running wild in our community, that shouldn't be happening.
Right.
But because of this reliance on the state to protect, to serve and protect, and they're not there to do either or, and they're not there to really make sure that our communities are not in chaos and shambles. That's our job. Right. But we too busy going to our 9 to 5, going to work and coming back and having the protection of our community being dependent on someone else. Our communities are in chaos and the youth is running wild. So, what Jalil did, Baba Jalil did in Atlanta, I think that's a representation of what we were supposed to have been doing, what the Black Panthers actually, we're doing. And it might be a conflict. We might have to go to war with our own people, but if that's what it takes for us to make sure that we are controlling our communities and it's not being degraded, it's not being destroyed, by our own people and from outsiders, then so be it.
Yeah. And to your point, Malcolm said you don't call a man brother till he operates like one. So I think that part of this whole thing, we got to keep in mind that at the forefront, the one thing that the common factor of what you just talked about, whether it's the youth running wild, or whether it's the whole 9 to 5 situation or community control, so on and so forth, that is a result of capitalism, because capitalism presents a situation that is uncomfortable and has discomfort, and then they'll come with some false solution, like here's some, sell this, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let me arm you with this, let you feel like the man that you don't feel like, by oppressing and dominating other people like you're being oppressed and dominated. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, it's like, we look at it from one angle, and if we're not correct in our analysis, if our analysis is flawed, then we just come with the same old. Oh, it's you get the youth need to pull their pants up. It's single parent and every damn thing under the sun. But the reality is, when it comes to the state will morph itself into whatever it is you need it to be. You know what I mean? So whether it's feeding you BS through music, whether it's feeding you BS through video games, movies, whatever, so on and so forth. And note, I didn't just blame it on hip hop. I ain't just blaming it on rap. It's hard to do when you have violent video games. It's hard to do when you see these movies when literally it's comical when you see somebody get shot in the ass. You laughing like, oh, like it's funny. You know what I'm saying? It's a strange thing, but that's what capitalism does. It makes you feel like your pain can be eased just by doing things that will ultimately destroy you.
Yeah, and they build wealth off of it.
Of course,
they build wealth off of the misery, the suffering of the oppressed.
Of course,
but this is, and I think we're at a stage like we're at this phase where now you have people, not that we didn't have it before, but you see a lot more Black people in positions. I don't know if I want to call it power, relative power,
right,
where they're doing the bidding of the ruling class, and
Absolutely.
So we have people from our own communities because they're trying to be amongst the elite. They want to make it and be at that level of that they're willing to do anything to get there, which is step on their brother and sister, destroy their own community and pump the same poison that the oppressor has been pumping into us, man. But it's interesting. I was actually like reading the development of the music industry, the Black music industry in the 1920s, 1910s, 1920s, and I forgot the brother's name. I gotta look at it. Something it's on the tip of my tongue, but he was like one of the first music company owners, Black music company owners. And it was only a certain type of music that he wouldn't mess with the jazz. He wouldn't mess with because it was associated with like sex and promiscuity, and just it just reminded me of just like how hip hop came around. A lot of folks didn't want to mess with hip hop, and even today. But it was like that same thing was going on. I guess that's the point I'm making. It was just like the same conversations was being had then, where they didn't want to be associated with a certain type of sound, certain type of Black folks. They were trying to move away from. I guess how you describe. I'm trying not to say anything that it sounds elitist, but just like really just trying to move away from what they perceive to be like the not proper. I'm trying to find the right way to describe it, but the niggas. I ain't want to say it, man.
I know what the hell you talking. The proper, they like the niggas.
They was trying to separate themselves from the people who was acting like niggas. I don't really use that term too.
Nah, that's cool. We, you know what I'm saying. I appreciate it. It took you a while to get that shit out. I'm sitting there like,
I'm like, fuck it, man. Let me just say it.
Hey, it reminded me of Harlem Nights where we had the brother that was studying and whatnot, and they was like.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They like, come on, babies. Like Kima bugging over here. Yeah, no, I understand that, and that is, it's a wild roller coaster ride when you talk about, how they position themselves and created what I call the nigga machine.
Oh, and if I can, say this, because I was so focused on getting the right
word
term,
out. Like,
But the white folks supported the music that this Black company looked at as really as regression, as a regression. You know, we're moving backwards with this type of music just because of what like the jazz and everything was associated with, right? In the nightclubs, you know, again with the promiscuity, drug use, and all of that. But the white, so there was certain artists black artists they wouldn't invest in, but the white companies invested in that, and so the black companies they weren't able to compete with these white companies at the time, and so they folded. This company was probably around for like 3 or 4 years, and so I fast forward, it just reminds me of hip hop when the sound changed. You had these white companies who started investing in a certain type of sound
Right.
and really projecting this image and this music to the world, of black people. And it's not to take away from that artistry, but the balance was lost, and it was like, who was in control and who was making sure that this type of sound gets out to our community. And these folks like Brand Nubian and Nice and Smooth and Tribe Called Quest, man, their music was that music was good. That was great music.
Yeah.
And it's like, what happened to them though? How did this other sound, this other music was able to dominate? Yeah.
Was the label you talking about? Was that out of Harlem? Is that the one you talking about?
I feel like it was in the South, man.
Okay. Because I know it was one in Harlem. I think it's called Black Swan or something.
Oh, Black Swan. That was in Harlem? Damn, you got it, bro.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yo, let me find out, my brother.
I know a little something, you know what I'm saying? I ain't just on here because I got a fly shirt on, you know what I mean?
Black Swan, that's it.
Yeah. So that was started by this brother, Harry Pace.
There we on it, man.
Yeah. I'm a little bit. The way you took it around the world, I didn't know what the hell you were talking about. I was about to say Barry Gordy.
Nah, way before Barry.
No doubt. So this was actually, I want to say this was probably around the time, and I'm not sure if they recorded this, but I know that was around the time that that Garvey spoke at Madison Square Garden. I believe that was like 1921 or something like that. That's when that label came about. Now, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. I believe that W.E.B. Du Bois was affiliated with this label in some kind of way, fashion, or form, but I don't think Garvey was. I could be wrong. But
I think Du Bois was affiliated. Not he had some affiliation. He wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was some sort of like inspiration for, or he invested in it, gave some funds for the startup. There was a few people, and I think Du Bois was one of them. He had some sort of connection. Right. But yeah. I'm gonna go back.
Yeah. So, but I think it was Harry Pace, W.C. Handy, folks like that. Matter of fact, I don't know if they might have been partners, but nah. And that's crazy because as you talking about it, we're talking about 1921. And here it is, we're in 2020, 2024, 103 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And this was something they had to contest with a century ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that it's important to understand that, again, when we talk about, us battling for independence and being self-sufficient, it ain't no new thing, as Gil Scott-Heron would say. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? This is part of, the play. This is what it does. So you went from a Black Swan to a Bad Boy. You understand what I'm saying? To a Def Jam, as you see, like the Russells and these other fools, the Puffies and all of them, the things that how they flipped it. And of course, it wasn't them alone. It was their white sponsors. You know what I mean? Because you take it back to like, the whole Bad Boy Death Row beef. You were talking about Bad Boy was with Arista Records. Death Row was with Interscope with Jimmy Iovine, and just looking at this thing, you had Clive Davis, with Arista. So if there was really this whole beef thing, this fake ass beef, it could have been stopped by the labels themselves. But the thing is, it was money to be made. And I pointed out before, when you talk about like everything is political. You know what I'm saying? It's not this ain't no, well, they ain't talking about nothing and so on and so forth. All that's political. It's not just because, motherfucker ain't got nothing to say. This is just the reality of how the nature of the beast and how it maneuvers and how diabolical and devastatingly effective they are at destruction. You know what I'm saying? As Dr. Jeffries would say, they specialize in three things: domination, destruction, and death. You know what I mean? That's their MO. That's how they get down. But I think back to even when we talk about like Snoop Dogg and the whole gin and juice thing. You know what I'm saying? Again, the same folks that own Interscope, the whole Seagram's brand, they own the gin and the juice. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So this was a commercial. It wasn't just, he liked gin and juice. You know what I'm saying? Like he just so happened, to be working for Seagram's and he makes this anthem. Like it's a coincidence. No, this is how this thing go. The labels themselves, they push it. The label is just that. It's a label. You know what I'm saying? It's marketing, it's promotions, it's capitalism. So.
And our people are smart. They see how the game is being played, and they're like, okay, let me do this, even though this is out of my character, but I know I can make some money. But if I dress this way and I talk about these things, right? If I promote this, let me take these pictures in this Adidas outfit. Let me spend money on Adidas, and maybe Adidas would sponsor me. We constantly out here, trying to sell ourselves and make money. But that's how colonialism had. That's how capitalism had.
Right. But what did they do when Africans were enslaved and when they owned them? They branded them. So it's still a branding situation. You still got these labels. You are owned by this company. You know what I'm saying? You're owned by, even when they talk about you don't own your masters, you are owned by the masters. You understand what I'm saying? So when you talk about that, and we're not trying to, do no slick wordplay or nothing like that. When we talk about the whole aspect of branding and what it means to control. And like you said, you saying, okay, boom, I'll put on this outfit or whatever, even though I don't even wear this, I'll dress like this, even though this ain't how I want to dress in real life. But I have to start this trend so that these white folks can make money. And at the end of the day, we come along and try to make some crumbs. And like you said about the shirts, they don't have any labels on it. You can't even remember who made it because it's not controlled by white folks. It's controlled by white folks because, of course, when it comes to something simple like us producing a T-shirt, we still have to get all our materials from somewhere else.
Yeah.
The design, the intellectual property might be ours. But in the grand scheme of things, we don't own the T-shirts. We don't own the labels. We don't own the ink. We don't own the distribution. We don't own the manufacturing. And that is why we cannot be capitalists. We can be aspiring capitalists.
Yeah.
But in order to be a capitalist, you have to do what? You have to own the means of production. You have to own the material. And you have to have control of the distribution. You know what I mean? And that is something that I don't know of any African in the United States that runs all three of those particular pieces, collectively or as individuals. So, yeah. So
and I know we kind of digressed from
H-Rap Bruh, yeah. But it's all a part of it. But yeah,
it's a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the point he's making is the progress. Like what progress has been made if we don't own those things? When have we owned those things?
No,
in America. You know what I'm saying? And
we
so
haven't owned them things. Yeah,
we haven't. So we're talking about concessions, and those concessions will continue to be made as long as the ruling class can remain the owners of those things. All right, what do we got to give to these people for them to shut up? They want a billionaire. Let's give them a billionaire. Like that's what they want, a black president. Let's give them a black president.
Yes, yes. As long as he's control. Like what we had the clip playing yesterday on Rise Up when Dr. Clark was talking about Nelson Mandela, when he was talking about he don't control nothing. You know what I'm saying? He said he can't even control his chauffeur. He said,
man.
He said the white folks gave his chauffeur a gun just in case Nelson get out of hand.
Right.
This is the reality of it.
Yeah.
So there is no, one of the things that in listening to what you're saying right now, I think about one of my favorite speeches from Martin Luther King. And I know some of y'all like, you quoting Martin? Yeah, I'm quoting Martin because Martin was gangster to be organizing in some of these places. If you ain't never organized in Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, so on and so forth, all that shit you talking about, he talking that nonviolence, that sound good. But you got to be a bold motherfucker to get out there and really just face these crackers, head on. But one of the things he said, don't let anyone take away your manhood.
Mm-hmm.
He said, be proud of who you are. You know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody tell you that you are less than. So that's not patriarchy. He wasn't saying that, don't whatever, but yeah, like you are to a great extent, what you were speaking on a few minutes ago, it's like you're renting yourself out. And in capitalism, and I'm sorry to tell y'all because some of y'all, are aspiring capitalists, but the nature of capitalism is a pimp hoe system. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying that as nice as possible, because what happens is you can go to work all day, you can own whatever you want to, so on and so forth, but you still got to bring that money home and pay them taxes. You understand what I'm saying? They still going to come for you because of the fact that, every time you spend, every time you buy, whatever, that's what it is. You know what I mean? You work, they're going to get paid off of your labor. That's just the reality of it. And you can never be a master. So we can look at the Jay-Z's and all these other people. And listen, man, all of that is fluff.
Yeah.
They'll pull your card real quick and sweep you off your feet. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because all they have to do is whiteboard you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And folks, I don't know how long we plan on waiting, but if we think, that we can make it in the system of capitalism, man, we'll be waiting a very long time. I don't think it ever happened. But there's a few reasons why. First of all, capitalism is a genocidal system, and people who designed the system, they didn't design it for black folks to become owners of the means of production. Oh. It's a competitive system. Everybody can't hold the reins. You know what I'm saying? Of the means of production. No. You can't equally distribute that, among people. No. But really quick though, I wanted to go back to Martin and then come back to this. Martin was definitely gangster, man, because when you look at those videos, I mean, he's getting hit. There's people firing guns as they're marching. I definitely would have been out there strapped up, man. Like, they shooting?
Yeah. Like, what's up? Yeah. Yeah. But you know what though? According to our OG, shout out to Baba Mukasa, Dada, formerly Willie Ricks, brother who many say came with the slogan Black Power, which was popularized by Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael. One of the things that he told us was that the Bible that Martin walked around with, he said it was carved out and he had a 38 snub nose in it.
Oh,
that's what the brother told us.
Yeah.
And he was someone, for folks who don't know, he's someone, him and Stokely, Kwame Ture and, Stokely Carmichael at the time, them and members of SNCC, they rode with King. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just
to be strapped. Of
course. I mean, supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? What kind of man would he be? You know what I mean? So the thing is, being nonviolent don't mean you're stupid. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So some folks just think that because you're nonviolence or you preaching nonviolent that you soft. We got to remember that King was assassinated at 39 years old. So for all practical purposes, he never saw our ages.
Mm-hmm.
Neither did Malcolm, neither did Che, neither did Patrice Lumumba, neither did Walter Rodney. You know what I'm saying? This is what it is. So we gotta, we can go on and on down the line. Chairman Fred, Little Bobby Hutton, and so many others that just didn't make it to that ripe old age. Bunchy Carter, John Huggins, folks like that. These were youngsters in the grand scheme of things. But listen, my man, Ikemba, I think we're going to go to a quick break and whatnot. Folks probably tired of hearing us rapping. Probably like, where them other hosts? They'll be back tomorrow. Don't be trying to front on us. Y'all know y'all love it. Y'all know we doing what we doing. But anyway, we appreciate y'all for real for checking out the Rise Up Morning Show. This is how we do. Make sure you, as the ticker says at the bottom, like, share, subscribe. But also, if you really dig what we're doing, support our Patreon, because we want to make sure that we have everything it takes to bring you this critical political action. But we're going to take a quick Black Power break, and we're going to be right back at you. Don't go nowhere.
Cocoa brought money to Ghana or to the Gold Coast as it was then, at a time when the economy was becoming monetized and when commodity production was becoming generalized. Then it created an illusion that the future was with cocoa, that wealth lay if one could get hold of a farm which would produce cocoa. And long after the reality had changed, take today, long after cocoa means anything in terms of a money earner to the Ghanaian or to the Ivory Coast or to the Nigerian people, we find large masses of Africans who are still locked into the cycle of cocoa production. Of course, they're not simply following an illusion. They are locked in because structures have been created that maintain them that way. And they're locked in because classes arose historically within our own society. And segments of those classes, at any rate, still feel that their objective interest is bound up with the type of economy and the type of dependent relationship which might have been the case, or which was the case, when cocoa was the principal crop. And we could, by analogy and independent investigation, make the same case for sugar. But then the time comes when one crop goes. And the capitalist system is capable of selectively substituting another product which will reintegrate different parts of the peripheral world into capitalism. But the choice is a metropolitan choice. And whatever they do at a particular point in time, they are free to undo at a later stage. We do not have the control over the process. This is a warning against the illusions that might be created by things like Nigerian oil and Trinidad and Tobago oil, because it is clearly a situation in which they're at the level of the subjective. It's the same phenomenon that, say, the people of Trinidad and Tobago imagine that oil means wealth, that the extraction of that product is in and of itself the basis of development. That is no different from the illusion that might have been created in the late 19th century when Jamaicans started to export bananas and thought that they were onto a good thing. No different from the illusions created by cocoa and coffee and cotton and sisal and every other product that was determined in its essence, as far as production in the world scale was concerned, determined by capitalism at the center. Not chosen by our people as an integral part of an autonomous development. Not chosen by our people as part of the development of all of our economic resources. So it is a shortcoming that we have to watch out for. Now, over and above this marginalization in the broad sense because of the changes in technology and the changes in the value of the products which we produce and which we sell to the capitalist world, we also find ourselves the victims of the international economic depression, the international economic crisis, I should say, because it exhibits features which are partially features of a depression and features of a recession. But again, this is something in which we live. And if we think about it enough and we look around ourselves, we need not feel that it is an abstraction. It is something which we are living. From 1974, the capitalist world has been in perhaps the most serious, the most pervasive, the most peculiar of its economic crises. Even the bourgeois economists themselves are looking back and they're saying this thing is far more deep-seated, far more wide-ranging than the so-called Great Depression of the 1930s. And if we were to go even further, we would find that 100 years ago in the 1870s, the period 1878-1879, Europeans used to speak about a Great Depression. The term was used in the 1870s. It was reused in the 1930s to represent points at which the international economy was in severe crisis. And whenever that international economy was in severe crisis, as always, I imagine with any social system, the system had to take stock of itself, and the system had to take new initiatives in order to survive. Well, I'm going to suggest that right now, the international economic system, having been in crisis for these last few years, has been taking stock of itself. That the capitalists who man this system, whose consciousness of the process in which they live is now sharper than ever, are aware of the overall ramifications of the crisis, even where they don't have an immediate answer. And very often, we who live in the peripheral world, we amble along without recognizing what it is doing to us and what is its real significance. Above all, for us, the significance is that the burden of the depression will be passed over to us whenever and wherever possible. That is happening throughout the third world. If you were to make an examination of inflation and identify the specific products that now, with a certain proportion of inflation, and then trace the export of those products, you will see the export of that inflation to third world countries, including some of the vaunted oil-rich states of the Middle East. Those are also ones that import the inflated products and in that sense accept the inflation from the central capitalist countries, which of course is not new, because in previous depressions, central capitalism has also sought to export the depression, to export the penury, to export the pressure created by contradictions internal to the system.
Give us a moment, right, to reflect on that.
Man, listen, and we just talking about capitalism. It's funny. We want y'all to know, man, that we today, first of all, we had a guest schedule. Our guest couldn't make it today. She had a situation, so we will definitely reschedule that. You know, I just want to say that because I know I mentioned in the first hour that we had a guest, and I didn't want folks to be like, "Did I miss the guest?" No, Ikemba's not the guest. You know what I mean? Just in case you don't know. You know, he want to act like he the guest, but nah. I'm sitting here. You know, we touched on a few different things, and I want to say definitely salute to our brother Isaac, who will be back on the scene tomorrow, along with the other hosts of Rise Up Morning Show, and we also have some other hosts that'll be coming on board in the next week or so. So I want to point that out. But you know, the video clips, and shout out to Sister May for the production. But these video clips right here, we didn't plan on going into these discussions. It just worked the way it did. You know what I mean? It's like it was a natural progression, and it's just like as soon as we finish with one thing, it's like here it is. You know what I mean? So to hear Walter Rodney, a brother who was, you know, a Guyanese giant, again, we're talking about folks that didn't make it to age 40, 38 years old, assassinated in a car bomb. You know what I mean? A brother who left us so many jewels, man, that you could take it and wear it if you want to. Just hearing that speech right there, man. How did that hit you, brother? I mean, like, just
it's like it's still going on. I'm thinking that had to be in the 70s. It sounded like it was around the time of the oil crisis. The oil crisis probably already happened, so it might have been like after that, because he was talking about the inflation and everything.
Indeed.
But when he started off talking about the cocoa production and that exploitation that was taking place, and I'm just like, I've covered that a few times, on our platform, the exploitation of the Ghanaian and Iranian, the people of the Ivory Coast,
right?
Those people, those Africans, who produce somewhere around 40, probably somewhere around close to half of the cocoa that is produced and exported comes from that region, comes from those two countries.
Right.
And that exploitation of the workers is still going on. So he's talking about this contradiction again, like capitalism, what capitalism does and how it exports. What was the last thing he said? I think it exports its oppression, I think he said.
Yes. To that nature. I was mesmerized from the beginning, because I think that, like I said, he's one of those brothers that, that is overlooked and underestimated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I would say he reminds me of what you posed the question a little earlier, and I'm sorry if I'm getting off track, but you said something to the effect of why Kwame Ture was known, but H-Rap wasn't. And it's similar to someone like Walter Rodney. And I notice more scholars claim him traditionally. You know what I mean? And he was, what we would call a guerrilla intellectual indeed, and it's his work, how Europe undeveloped Africa is like one of the, it's a mandatory must read, and it's something that should be in anyone's library that is considering getting a clear understanding of what capitalism does and how it operates. So, like you said, with his rap right there, it's almost, with all of these greats that came before us, it's criminal that we remain in the condition that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
It's criminal because not lift yourself up by your bootstrap. It's not even necessary for another book to be written. It's not even necessary for another lecture to be given. Yeah, I mean,
he came with the analysis, because that's another thing. It's like he's giving us the analysis, he's breaking it down, and in that we should be able to develop the solution. It's like, okay, he's making it plain for us. Like, this is the system. This is how it is operating. And he talked about capitalism being in crisis, and I think part of the problem is, and it's not for a lack of trying, but I think that there's not enough people involved in the process of overturning the system, that when capitalism is in crisis, because it's in crisis now. We see what's going on in West Africa, what's going on in Ukraine and Congo and Sudan. Like, it's in crisis, and people, and they're struggling. Republic of China, so Russia, America, they all struggling, for position.
Desperate.
But there's not enough of us involved in this process to overturn this thing and take advantage of it. We should be taking advantage of what's happening right now.
That's right.
That's right. And it's not happening. It's not from lack of trying. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah. I mean, I want to, putting the organizer hats on, right?
Yeah.
You know, you've been organizing for a while. I've been organizing for a while. We've come across some of the you know, some of our teachers have been some of the greatest that ever did it. You know, greatest that ever done it, man. And you know, what does that, just asking you, man, like in hearing all this and having all the information, you talked about yesterday, you kind of said, you mentioned you know, knowledge of self. You said, man, you know, this is you know, you know, we used to call it knowledge of self, and I know some people still do, so you know, we ain't tripping on that. But for the naysayer and the folks who look at this movement and they as Pac would say, I see the future and it's hopeless. You know what I mean? For those folks, what do you say? I mean, like, you know, again, we talked about earlier how to a great extent people make excuses as to why they can't get down in the fight. They can't get dirty. You know, what are some of the reasons you would say root causes that we can't take what Rodney's given us? We can't take, just on this show today alone. We highlighted H. Rap Brown, Imam Jamil Alameen, formerly H. Rap Brown. We highlighted El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, Malcolm X. We highlighted Walter Rodney. Three powerful brothers.
Yeah, I mean, I think our survival, man. People have to understand that our survival, our existence, is going to be predicated on us nation building. Like if historically we can look at the suffering, the genocide that's happening in our community, the ethnic cleansing.
Right.
You know, we want to call it gentrification, but the ethnic cleansing that's taking place.
I call it genocide. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely ethnic cleansing. And I say genocide only because of the fact that you are eliminating generations just through gentrification. You know what I'm saying? It is like,
absolutely.
It is, you know, you are totally decimating. And I'm sorry to cut your bill, but I just wanted to. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, when you look at even the music, the promotion of gang banging in the music, people killing each other, saying I'm going to kill you, and putting it out there because you know, like, people are going to consume it. They looking at this as entertainment.
Right.
They can dance to it. They can, you know, when somebody lose their life, they can laugh about it and talk. You know, they can be entertained by the whole process, and we can sit back and make money off of it. All of that, but that's genocide right there. So, you know, there's people who are funding that, but that's capitalism. But our survival is dependent on us getting organized and doing for self. Like what happened in Houston, you know, we shouldn't have to be relying on a white mayor, a white governor, and a white president to come together and say, you know, okay, how are we going to get this money together? Oh, it's your fault. We got white people pointing at each other on whose fault it is. And then
that's game as well. You know what I'm saying? It's strictly clowning, like a YouTube show. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, like it's slapstick comedy at the expense of Africans and indigenous people. You know, brothers and sisters, black, brown, etc. The poor. You know what I'm saying? Like Pop was talking about a war on the black and the poor. You know what I mean? And it's clear. So we choose to. Some of us will choose to fight on all fronts. But the reality is, at the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, without community control,
without that, and that's why it's important too for the organizers, the people who say that they're revolutionary and nationalists and about liberation. Then, by any means necessary, I feel that we all need to be coming together, sitting down, and form a document to say, hey, this is how we're going to build and operate amongst you. Can whatever you do as far as in your district or community, but Hey, can we come together and have this document to say, okay, we all on the same page as far as how we're gonna operate as a people, as a nation.
Right.
You know, that if we should be, if we're about that, you talking about you revolutionary, you about nation building, then how can all of these people, revolutionaries, not sit in the room together, you know, and say this is how we gonna get free?
Because it's about ego first, brother. But the reality is that's why we talking about building a united front against fascism, because at the end of the day, we are all, unfortunately, victims. And as my brother talks about, Chairman Fred Jr., it's embarrassing to be oppressed. Being oppressed is an embarrassing thing. And that's what we can't grasp and grip. And that's why, you know, I always quote the hip hop group Little Brother, because in one of their songs, they say, do you really want to win or do you want to look good losing? We're the best dressed slaves. We're the most successful enslaved people on the planet. You know what I mean? And arrogant with our ignorance. You understand? Totally arrogant and proud. Proud to dress like Europeans or whatever the dominant cultural force is, to talk like them, to walk like them, so on and so forth. I'm going to keep it 100 for folks that's checking us out right now. I kind of laugh, I kind of chuckle to myself when folks talk about white folks' cultural appropriation. What do you mean cultural appropriation? The fact that we're saying that shit in English is incredible. You know what I mean? So is that not cultural appropriation?
You getting deep like that?
Hey, I'm just saying, brother. Like, you know, we're gonna keep it gangster. You know, be a gorilla with a GUE. You know what I'm saying?
Walking around praising their God.
Yeah.
Talking their language.
You got, you know, in God we trust on the back of their joint, which is guns, oil, and drugs. You know what I'm saying? Goodness. Gold, oil, and drugs. That's their God. We clear about all of that. But the thing is, it's like, you know, it's like everything we do is European. We ain't even, they stole our mind. They took our mind. And they're like, look at this cracker trying to dress black. What is dressing black? I understand that we've created our own cultures and silos within, you know, subcultures within this madness. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, and we you know, we support hip hop and all that. So, you know, for folks in the chat, don't go there with all that. We simply saying that the fact is that we've been dominated, decimated, you know what I'm saying? And damn near erased from the planet. You know what I'm saying? To a certain extent, culture-wise. There's a war against for our culture, our spirit, so on and so forth. And we run around talking about white folks dressing like us or talking like us, or what they took from us. They took you. They took your black ass. You know what I'm saying? You talk about they took music. They took everything. They took your mind. You know, and then I hear people saying, oh, I ain't trying to learn no African language and so on and so forth. Heard one sister talking about she's into African spirituality, but she ain't gonna dress like no African. I ain't gonna talk like no African, so on and so forth. I'm just gonna burn my candles and do whatever I do to shake boogaloo and everything good. You know what I'm saying? We are we're strange. You know, we're strange kind of people, man.
I mean, that's who, you know, we're sick people. You know, I try to have grace.
Of course. We love our people. Don't get it twisted. We're not like some of these other folks that we just here to cut down our people. That's not why we came here. But at the same time, we have to have a reality check.
That's reality,
yeah. No, this ain't the Breakfast Club, and this ain't no black left version of the Breakfast Club. You know what I'm saying? This is Rise Up morning show. You know what I'm saying? If we say rise up, rise your ass out of bed, but rise up and let's have revolution, because every day is a good day for revolution. You understand what I'm saying? So we coming in the spirit of folks like the Gil Nobles. You know what I'm saying? Who made it plain, like his show was called, Make It Plain. You know what I mean? These are folks that we are paying
like it is.
Like it is. Oh, it's, man. Make It Plain was who's making
That's Malcolm X. That was the documentary.
You know what? For some reason, I was thinking there was a show called Make It Plain too, but I already know, of course, the documentary and Malcolm talking about it. So yeah, Thank you, like it is. But we gonna make it plain like it is.
Right on.
That's how we gonna
Right
rock.
on.
Yeah, but with that in mind, we running out of time, my man. I appreciate you rocking with us on this nice Thursday morning. You know what I'm saying?
Hard too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we was telling folks, we like, look, we told each other, like, look, man, it's just us two today. We're gonna have a guest, so we probably gonna do an hour. But we said we had to give the people what they came for. You know what I mean? Our show is from 8 to 10 a.m. EST. Shout out to our folks in France. Shout out to our folks that are across the globe rocking with us. But we're going to see y'all tomorrow, Friday, Tuesday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Till next time, rise up. We out.
Rise up.
You know what I'm saying? The LA stay in me, you know what I mean? I can say that's 80. I'm sure for 100, nigga. Let's get this money, roll out. Yeah. Fuck married to the game. Fuck fame. Fuck standing for nothing and standing for something, you end up the same. Fuck using this music to push that confusion. The power will prove it. It's the return of the source, nigga. It's your tuned in, death and say, of course, nigga. It's your damn flat tire, I say like folk, nigga. Looking for something that's different. Give you exactly what's missing. It's the return of the source. The bottom of the night. Smoke a pound by the eighth. Suited and booty, you know what we doing. You know we ain't coming to play. Surrounded by warriors. The bold and the glorious. Don't really want war with us. Big as we buy it, they call us notorious. Yeah, we coming for the head spot, train for the headshot, win some, lose some. For the heart of the South Bronx, home where the hard knocks if I came from. Mixing the words and the sound is surrounding you, feeling the power. Put it together, the art and the rap and the dance and the shit is a problem. Fuck married to the game. Fuck fame. Fuck standing for nothing and standing for something, you end up the same. Fuck using this music to push that confusion. The power will prove it. It's the return of the source, nigga. It's your tuned in depth and say, of course, nigga. Come on. It's your damn flat tire, I say like folk, nigga. Looking for something that's different. Give you exactly what's missing. It's the return of the source. Yeah, catch it like a vibe. Get you crawling up your spine. Yeah, feel good till you good, cause it's good for you now that you see that you lie. Put the game in the wrong hands, off with the wrong plan, give me that shit back. Took the beat on the 3-4 verb on the end, no nigga, that shit crack. Look at the clothes, look at the drip, look at the shit we rock. Look at the chains, look at the gold, all up through my mouth. Where you think it started, we got it from the heart of darkness, don't get it wrong, of the source.